Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Hello, Michigan. I love to be in Michigan. We're going to bring so many car manufacturing plants we're going to bring, but I see a lot of farms outside today. And there's never been anybody better to the farmer than Trump, that I can tell you. But it's great to be back in this beautiful state with thousands of proud, hardworking American patriots, which is exactly what you are. Early mail-in voting is underway now in Michigan, so if you want, go out and get that ballot, return it as soon as possible. And if not, get a ballot, just go and vote. You got to vote. We got to win this election. Our country is being destroyed by these lunatics. And while you're at it, get as many other Trump supporters as you can, and they'll do the same. 33 days from now, we are going to win the state of Michigan. We are going to defeat Lion Kamala Harris, one of the worst candidates ever. We've never had a candidate like that. And how about the vice president? That's going to be president someday? I don't think so. I don't think so. Did you see the debate? I don't think that's going to be president. He called himself knucklehead. We don't want a knucklehead as a president. And we're going to make America great again. And I'm asking every citizen all across our land to join me in launching a new golden age for America. As catastrophic as Kamala Harris, I never use the name Harris. Nobody knows what the hell I'm talking about. I say, Harris is doing a lousy job. Who's Harris? So we usually just say Lion Kamala. It's much better, more accurate. But as bad as Kamala's failures have been, we have a plan to fix it, and we're going to fix it very fast. It's going to go very quickly. Can you imagine what she's doing to our country on the borders, though? Can you imagine? With everything else is bad. But can you imagine what they're doing on the border? Why? Why are they doing it there? Killing our country. We can soon have soaring incomes, skyrocketing wealth, millions and millions of new jobs, and a booming middle class. We had the best four-year period of any president in history, and that's despite the China virus coming in. Despite the China virus. Instead of a manufacturing recession, we can have a manufacturing renaissance, which is what we want, especially here, especially in this state. We can live in cities and towns that are safe and clean, and borders that are sealed and secure. Wouldn't that be nice? And America can once again be strong and confident and free. How would you like to live like they're living, where thousands and thousands of criminals are put into your town or your city, and all of a sudden, your whole life changes. Your whole life changes. You see what's happened with Springfield and Aurora. You see what happened, Springfield, Ohio. You see what's happening. Would you like to have that happen to you? Good, I was just curious. Who the hell can do that? Who can do it? They inject 32,000 people from a foreign land that has lots of problems, but they inject 30, and you're 50,000 people, and now you have, in a month, you've almost doubled the size, and it's a disaster what's going on in Aurora, where you have Venezuelan street gangs that went into the same business as me. But they take their real estate with guns. I had to go borrow money from banks. They're in the real estate business. They go in, and the governor there in Colorado, Aurora, Colorado, the governor is petrified. He doesn't know what to do. He's never seen anything like it. Actually, nobody has seen anything like it when you get right down to it. But we can be a nation that dreams big again. We can be a nation that builds things again. We can reclaim our pride, our dignity, our glorious American destiny. But only if we make a clean break from the failures of the past 4 years. They've been the worst 4 years. When you add everything up, the inflation, the lack of respect, the Afghanistan disaster, which was the most embarrassing period of time in our history where we were just humiliated, and you add it all up, and all we're going to do is a very simple thing. We're going to make our country so incredible and so fast. You only have one thing to do. On November 5th, we're going to vote for a person named Donald J. Trump. Have you ever heard of him? Have you ever heard of him? Nice hat. Nice hat. But if Lion Kamala gets in, if she gets, can you imagine another 4 years like we've lived the last one? Think of it. People are dying in North Carolina. They're dying all over those 5, 6 states. They're dying, and they're getting no help from our federal government because they have no money, because their money's been spent on people that should not be in our country. If Lion Kamala gets 4 more years, instead of a golden age, America will instead be plunged into a dark age. Your family finances will be permanently destroyed. Your borders will be gone forever. They already are when you think of it, right? We don't have any borders. You're a border state now. You know that. Welcome. Congratulations. Tens of millions more illegal aliens will invade our cities and towns. Medicare and Social Security will buckle and collapse from the weight of all of these people becoming proud members of our Social Security system. Isn't that nice? Remember, for 4 years I took care of it. I didn't raise the age 5 years. You know what that means? That means, darling, I thought I was going to have Social Security. I thought I was going to retire a little early. But they've raised the age by 5 or 6 or 7 years. That's what they're going to do to you. I won't, because I would have done it already if I was going to do it. But they're going to do it. They're going to do it. And they're really destroying the whole system. And the world will be thrown into chaos and conflict like never before, although we're pretty close to that right now. And we're also very close to a third world war. And we have incompetent people running our country. We don't want to have them. Did you see where Biden said today when they asked what about Israel, what are they doing? And he said, well, I don't know. He didn't even know where the hell he was. You know, it's all these politicians now. I think I was the only one that ever went to the planes and the helicopters and talked, right? Now they all sort of stop and they talk, but he doesn't do a good job of it. He talks but he said, well, they'll have to do, I don't want them to do anything, Israel. But as long as they don't destroy the nuclear weapons on the other side. I said, did he say that? No, isn't it supposed to be the opposite, Judge? We got some of the biggest judges in the country right here. But isn't it supposed to be the opposite? No, as long as you do destroy the nuclear weapons, right? He said he's the worst foreign policy president in history, and everybody knew that from the beginning. No, he said as long as they don't destroy the nuclear, and I'm still trying to figure that one out. Nobody can figure it out. He can't figure it out either, come to think. If you want to avoid this miserable fate for America, Michigan and the entire Midwest will have to go out and we have to be too big to rig. You know that. Too big to rig. Turn out and vote in record numbers. Too big to rig. You know, last election, we did great in 2016. A lot of people don't know. We did much better in 2020. We won. We did win. It was a rigged election. It was a rigged election. You have to tell Kamala Harris, that's why I'm doing it again. If I thought I lost, I wouldn't be doing this again. You know where I'd be right now? On the beaches of Monte Carlo, maybe, or someplace. Be having a nice life. But if I had my choice of being here with you today or being on some magnificent beach with the waves hitting me in the face, I would take you every single time because we're going to make our country great again. Every single time. a very energetic crowd. And who else can fill up? Only MAGA. But whoever fills big places like this at 3 o'clock in the afternoon? We're going to be meeting. We're going to think of it. I just left Wisconsin. We 5 days ago, we had a sort of a rally. It wasn't supposed to be. 60,000 people showed up in Wisconsin. But the White House wouldn't give us proper security coverage. So we end up in a room of about 900 people. You have 60,000 people, 50 to 60,000 people outside waiting, but they don't want that because they don't want crowds. What they are doing is such a disgrace to our country. And so to those people in Wisconsin that didn't make it, I think they love us, and I think they're going to vote. By the way, we're up in all of the polls. We're up in every swing state. Doing great. They had a honeymoon period. You know, they had like a honeymoon. I didn't know what a honeymoon period. They kept talking about the honeymoon. Because I beat Biden, we were up 21 points by their numbers. And they went to him, crazy Nancy Pelosi. She's crazy as a bedbug. Crazy Nancy. But others too. They went to him and they said, Joe, you're out. He said, I'm not getting out. And they said, no, you're out. We're going to use the 25th Amendment because you're frickin' crazy, man. And he eventually agreed to get out, which took about, 24 hours. Remember, he said he would only get out if he was forced to by God. And that didn't work out. So they said, you're getting out because you're going to lose. You're going to lose by a lot. Right after the debate, they went to him, right? I don't know, did I do a good job or a bad job in that debate? That's sort of crazy. They said, you should have taken it a little bit easy, but all of a sudden we start hearing rumors, right, that he's getting out. And then we heard they, have the standard list of people, Democrats, and Gavin Newsom and lots of people. He destroyed California. She destroyed California, by the way. She destroyed the greatest city in our country 20 years ago, San Francisco. And then she became AG. She destroyed the state of California along with Newsom. But she had every bit, did you ever hear of him? Gavin Newsom. He's a terrible governor, done a lousy job. And you have such advantages. You do have great weather, you have the beautiful ocean, you have everything, but you still need somebody that knows what they're doing. And she destroyed, think of it, she destroyed San Francisco when she was the DA. The crime started to be rampant. It was the best city, the best. And then she destroyed California, and now she wants to destroy the United States of America. We're not going to let her do it. So you have to tell lying Kamala that we've had enough, Kamala. We can't take you anymore. We're not going to stand for it anymore. Kamala, you're fired. Get out. You're fired. You're fired. Get the hell out of here. Right? Starting on day one of my new administration, we will end inflation and we will make America affordable again. It's not affordable. They killed you. They killed you with their spending, a combination of spending and their stupid energy policies. They said, we're going to get away from the Trump energy policies. We were energy independent. Your numbers were the lowest they were in 30 years. We're going to get lower numbers. By the way, we are going to, from January 20th, that's the day you take office, 1 year from January 20th, your energy bills will be 1/2 what they are right now. 50%, 50. They'll be 1/2. Because we're sitting on more liquid gold than any other country in the world, including Saudi Arabia and including Russia. We have more liquid gold right under our feet, and we don't use it. We go to Venezuela to get their tar. And then we clean it up. You know where? We go to a very good, I just left there actually. We go to Houston, Texas, where they're the only plant that will clean their tar. It's tar. Instead of using our stuff, which is as pure as there is. And it's so crazy what we're doing in this country. It's just crazy. But we have more liquid gold. You know, I did a thing called ANWR, that's in Alaska. You know about it a little bit. Reagan tried to get it. Everybody tried to get it. They couldn't do it. I got it. In their first week, they terminated it. It's larger, perhaps as big as, but maybe larger than Saudi Arabia. Think of that. We would have supplied the entire Asian continent. We would have supplied Asia. We would have supplied everybody. But we'll have it redone very quickly because they didn't kill it like they wanted to, because they didn't kill it in Congress. I actually got it approved in Congress as part of the biggest tax cuts in history for this country. I got that approved in Congress. We got ANWR. So they didn't kill it in Congress, and I don't think they ever could. So we'll get it back very quickly. It's going to be back very fast. But think of that. The biggest site probably anywhere in the world, you never know exactly, but pretty much anywhere in the world, in Alaska. And it would have been great for Alaska, but it would have also been great for, you know, so big would have been great for our country, but we'll have it approved very quickly. But they ended it in the first week, but they approved the Russian pipeline. I had that disapproved. I said, you're not going to build, you know, when they say I was nice to Russia, I terminated their pipeline. I mean, it's the biggest thing they've ever done. They had a pipeline going to Germany and all over Europe. I said, nope, you're not going to build it. You're not going to build it. Vladimir, I'm sorry, Vladimir, you're not building it, Vladimir. No. Because it didn't make sense. We're defending them with NATO, right? So we're defending them, all the countries over in Europe. They're not paying their bills. They're delinquent. You know, they're delinquent. They're not paying their bills. But we're defending them with NATO, and yet they're paying billions of dollars to the people that we're defending, for the country that we're defending them against, Russia. So we defend them, and I said, you know, Angela, I met with Angela Merkel. I said, Angela, this doesn't make sense. We're defending you from Russia, but you're paying Russia billions of dollars a month. Somehow that's not working for me, Angela. And I terminated their pipeline right in the middle of that construction. You think Putin was happy? I don't think so. You think Biden would have done that? When Biden came in, one of his first acts was to unterminate. It was to let him build their pipeline. That wasn't a good, and by the way, if he didn't, you wouldn't have had the war in Ukraine. You wouldn't have had it anyway if I was president. If I was president, you wouldn't have had that. You wouldn't have had October 7th with Israel. Iran, as you know, was broke. They had no money for Hamas. They had no money for Hezbollah. They had no money for anything. They would have made a deal, and they would have been happy. They would have made a deal. And now look at what's happening over there. The whole world is blowing up. And the biggest threat we have is World War III, and we have incompetent people. And she's more incompetent than Biden. And remember, that was a coup. That was a coup of an American president. They took his presidency. They said, you get the hell out. And he walks around shaking hands with people. He still doesn't know what the hell happened. And then he goes to the beach. He goes to the beach all the time. Somebody told him he looks great in a bathing suit. Typically, an 82-year-old man doesn't look great in a bathing suit. There may be a couple, but I'm not sure I've ever seen it. But he has an ability that I wish I had. He's able to fall asleep stone cold out in front of the media. They're taking pictures. Who the hell wants to sleep in front of the media? I wish I had the ability to sleep like that. I wear it. It's true. No, he falls asleep. Think of it. He's laying down on the beach. He has those chairs. You know, they're meant for old people and children to lift. They weigh about like 6 ounces, right? They're aluminum, like 6 ounces. And he has a hard time moving them. They have to bring kids over to move them. Can't get his feet out of the sand. And they think this is good. But who can do this? Who can fall asleep with cameras blazing? Here's our president. And President Xi of China, Putin, all these people are looking and they're saying, what the hell is happening with that country? But we're going to change that around soon. Change it around very soon. We were respected 4 years ago. We were respected. Viktor Orban, he's the head of Prime Minister of Hungary. He said, the only thing wrong with the world today is Trump isn't president, because if he was president, there'd be no conflict whatsoever. You know, I had no conflict. We had no wars. We had no nothing. He's a tough guy, but he understood that. If Kamala is reelected, one of her very first acts will be to massively raise taxes for the American family. You know, her bill raises taxes. Whereas my idea is, not idea, it's going to be a fact, is to lower. I gave you the biggest tax cut in history, and we're going lower because we're going to rely on so many other things. Today, socialist Bernie Sanders is out on the trail campaigning for her because Kamala is known as the tax queen. Do you know that she is considered to be far left of Bernie Sanders? Now, Bernie, we know, he's crazy. He's crazy Bernie. We call him crazy. He got screwed twice, actually. He ran twice, looked like he won, and he didn't. And you know, he's a good sport, though. He acts like nothing happened. First it was Hillary. Then it was this one, right? It was Joe. Sleepy Joe beat him. But we have a little video. You know, I only do this for people when I like people. I do the videos. Otherwise, they're too expensive. So let's put it up.
Kamala Harris is going to significantly raise taxes.
Taxes are going to have to go up?
Kamala's plan will raise families' taxes by nearly $2,600 a year. Under Kamala, prices have already soared. Now, she'd make it worse with even higher taxes.
Taxes are going to have to go up?
President Trump will cut taxes again. No taxes on tips, overtime, or Social Security.
I'm Donald J. Trump, and I approve this message.
Now she wants to raise taxes, and she's going to raise it very substantially. You know why? To pay for the Green New scam. It's like throwing money out the window. We had the cleanest air and the cleanest water we've ever had during my last 3 years. We had the best water, best air we've ever had, and we were working. They'll put everybody out of business. They'll put everybody out of business. Our companies will be forced to do things that companies in China and other places in the world aren't forced to do. I used to watch this guy Kerry get into his plane and fly over to China, meet with them, say, we don't want you to use coal anymore. And they'd say, oh, yes, yes. So then he leaves, and that's the end of that. They don't do a thing. They say, what a stupid country that is. For years, Americans have watched as our country has been stripped of our jobs. By the way, this state, more than any other, you lost 60% of your automobile business over the years. And you know, a lot of it went to China, but a lot of it is currently going to Mexico. And China owns it, but it's going to Mexico. They think they're going to make cars. They're going to make cars and sell them into the United States with no tax. And that will destroy. It won't happen. It won't happen. And I'll tell you why in just a couple of minutes if you don't mind waiting. But it won't happen. They want to strip us of our wealth, and you've seen our companies being sold off to foreign countries all the time. And how about U.S. Steel? I'm not going to let them sell U.S. Steel. I don't care, even if it's maybe good, but this was the most important. 65, 70 years ago, U.S. Steel was the most important company in the world. Now Japan wants to buy it. I would not let that happen. I hope it doesn't go through before I get there, because if I get there and it's not done, we're not letting that. We'll help it get along. But we're not letting them buy U.S. Steel. But with my plan for the American economy, this will stop immediately all of this nonsense that they're doing, all of the hurt they're inflicting upon us. And we will begin to take other countries' jobs and factories, bring in businesses and trillions of dollars back to the United States of America. In other words, for the first time in 70 years, although I will say we started that process for 4 years, we started it. We had it going good, and then we had to fight the COVID stuff, and we did that really well. We never got the kind of credit we got for the economy and for the military, because we defeated ISIS very quickly. ISIS was supposed to take 5 years, and it took us about a month. Which tells you when you find the right ones, we have a great military, but I rebuilt the entire military. Under my plan, American workers will no longer be worried about losing their jobs to foreign nations. Instead, foreign nations will be worried about losing their jobs to America. We're bringing them all back. German car companies can become American car companies. In other words, what I'm saying is they've got to build their plants in America with you people operating them. We can beat China in electronic production. We will, too, using a very similar form, actually a better formula than they have. Manufacturers that have left us will come sprinting back to our shores. Here's the deal that I will be offering to companies and manufacturers all around the planet. We're going to be going after their companies for the first time ever. They've been ripping us off for years, but that's not going to happen anymore. The United States will give you the lowest taxes, the lowest energy costs, the lowest regulatory burdens, and free access to the best and biggest market on the planet Earth, but only if they make their products here in America and hire American workers. That's the whole deal. And if these companies don't take the deal, if they say no, then they're going to have to pay tariffs to come into our country. They're going to have to pay tariffs. And they want to come into our country, they're going to have to pay. And they're not going to send their products made in another country to us, and we have to eat their products. They're produced by other labor, and their labor, we're not going to take it. We will use the hundreds of billions of dollars in tariffs to benefit the American citizens. We're not going to let happen what's happened for so many years. The new American industrialism that we create, and it's going to be something, the industry will be beyond anything you've ever seen in this country. We'll create millions and millions of new jobs, massively raise wages for American workers, and make the United States a manufacturing powerhouse once again. So what we're doing, so we're lowering the tax rate for the middle class, for everybody. But we're bringing the small business tax and the business tax down. I got it from 39% to 21%, got it approved by Congress. Everyone said that was impossible to do. Got it approved by Congress. Nobody thought it was possible. Now I'm bringing it from 21 all the way down to 15. So we'll now have the most, at 21, we were highly competitive. At 15, we're one of the most competitive in the world because we want to bring companies to this country, right? She wants to raise the tax for everybody so they all leave and there go your jobs. Think of it. By contrast, Kamala, known as the taxing queen back in San Francisco, is demanding a 33% tax hike on all domestic production. In addition, she wants the largest capital gains tax in the history of our country, and maybe the history of the world. She even plans a tax of unrealized capital gains. So she wants a tax on unrealized capital gains. So if you don't sell your stock or your company or what, you have to go out. And some companies don't make money, but they're very valuable companies. They'll have to go out and beg, borrow, and steal to pay tax. This is a communist tax, it's called. And it's never used. Nobody's ever even heard of using it. But it's no good, and it's something that we're not going to let happen because we will be driven into a depression, the likes of which we probably only seen in 1929. Kamala Harris already cost the average family $29,000 with her rampant inflation, and now she's coming back for more. So we're not going to let that happen. Her plan would raise taxes by $4.1 trillion, hiking the typical family's taxes by, congratulations, $2,600 a year, reducing GDP because people won't do business here. They're going to all leave. Our companies are going to leave. You know, got to remember, these companies are smart, and they have people, they love the country, or in some cases they don't. Some cases they're run by people that aren't from our country, but they always look for the best deal. And they go to Europe, and they go to the medical industry, went to Ireland largely. They go to the country that offers them the best deal. They go to China. China loves to have them. But it's going to be reducing GDP by 2%, lowering wages by 1.2%, and killing off almost 1 million full-time jobs. That's her thing. It's crazy. Harris is right now shutting down power plants across the country, causing electricity prices to soar by more than 100%. You see what's happening? It's amazing. They want to go to an all-electric car. Listen to this, which will, by the way, destroy your business in Michigan. They want to go to an all-electric car, right? But in California, where they're going all-electric, they have blackouts every week and brownouts because they don't have enough electricity. So they have to figure that one out. But it's driving us into a third world status by attacking the entire fossil fuel industry, which is, unfortunately, that's the industry. If you want to fire up your big plants, you're not going to do it through wind. The wind isn't blowing, darling. Let's turn on the television. Let's try it anyway. I want to see President Trump make a speech tonight. No, darling, the wind isn't blowing. We have no juice in the house. We have no juice. If Kamala Harris, think of this, her America, if you ship production overseas, she will give you a tax break. In other words, her tax break, this is her plan. It's a plan for stupid people. Her tax break is that you'll get a tax break if you ship your product overseas. No, it's supposed to be the opposite. With her tie-breaking vote on what I call the Inflation Creation Act, it's supposed to call the Inflation Reduction Act, remember? And they admitted it was a scam. It's not a name because it had nothing to do with inflation except raising it. It was really a way of getting money for the Green New Scam. So they actually admitted the Inflation Reduction Act was a scam, but I call it the Inflation Creation Act. I actually like the way that sounds pretty good. She is going to create tremendous inflation. She's sending billions of dollars to Chinese battery factories, Chinese solar factories, and Chinese electronics factories. And we don't have to send anything. All we have to do is make it expensive for them to send their product into the United States, and they will end up building, or somebody else will, those plants in the United States. In other words, tariffs to me are the most beautiful word. Other than my chart, I love that chart. Other than my chart, it's one of the most beautiful things I've ever seen. It's going to make our country rich. Unfortunately, we have a lot of stupid politicians in Washington. They don't like it. It's actually they're learning, though. They're figuring it out. It'll make our country rich again. Our country right now owes $36 trillion. It's going to make us very rich very fast, and the rest of the world will be living with it, and they'll be fine, and we'll help people out, too. But it's time that we took care of ourselves. It's time we put America first, right? We got to put America first. And it's no wonder that under Kamala Harris, we lost 25,000 manufacturing jobs in August. You know that, right? That was the last reporting period. We lost 24,000 jobs. Manufacturing jobs, good jobs. But this horrific nightmare for American workers ends the day I take the oath of office. It ends. We will cut energy, and thank you. Thank you. I love you too. Stand up, please. Who said that? Oh. Such a beautiful voice. I said, stand up. That's a beautiful voice, a beautiful person. Thank you very much. We will cut energy and electricity prices in half within 12 months. So, again, your energy costs for your home, your car, your air conditioning, your heating, all of it, is going to be cut by 50% within 1 year. Because that's what drove up the price of everything. And we will also quickly double our electricity capacity. We're going to have, the AI, artificial intelligence. People don't know. It's a big deal. I don't know, good or bad. Who the hell knows? I think it's got some drawbacks, if you want to know the truth. There's some big drawbacks to it, but that's going to be the hot thing. That's going to be really the hot thing. And in order to do it and compete with China, they're already building massive electric plants. We will need double the electricity produced in our country right now in order to do it. And we'll have that. If I get it, we're going to have electricity, the likes of which we're going to build plants. We're going to build them next to the factories, and we're going to get very quick environmental impact statements approved immediately. It's not going to take 14 years to get them approved. We had a big refinery, like it was $16 billion, one of the biggest in the world in Louisiana. And a very big, beautiful, it took them 14 years, and they were rejected on the environmental impact statement because there was one line, and they made for that one line. The thing was like 28,000 pages long, 28,000 pages. They covered every fish ever developed, there was never a fish that wasn't discussed in this statement. But they had one half of a sentence that was not good. They made them do it all over again. Anyway, they're in there for 14 years. I come into office and they complained, and it was a foreign country actually putting like $14 billion into our country. And I said, how long have they been working on it? Like 12 or 13 years. I said 12 or 13 years, and now they're getting fed up. I think they're going to leave, sir. I approved it in one day. It was done. And it's built. It's built. It's built and operating. It's built and operating, and then we got another one approved quickly, because that's good. That's not bad. That's good. And it's really incredible. I've never seen a building so big. That's like 3 Empire State Buildings laying on its side. It's got more pipes in it than anything. I said, what the hell is it? All pipes. I don't care. All I know is it's producing like crazy, and everybody's happy. I got it done immediately. With the lowest energy prices on earth, we will attract energy-hungry industries from all over the planet and millions of blue-collar jobs. And the reason we can do that is because, again, we have more liquid gold under our feet than anybody else. Otherwise, nobody else could do this but us. We're in position to do it. Instead, we're going all electric, and we don't have that. Although we do have some, and it's usually controlled by the environmentalists. We're going to uncontrol it pretty quick. It's called rare earth. We have some great rare earth science areas, but we're not allowed to touch it. Because if we touch it, the world will come to an end, they say. If we dig a little bit like China does and like other countries, we have some great rare earth. You know what rare earth is to make different things, including chips and batteries and things. We have some incredible sites, but they're all taken totally off the market because some guy sitting there with very thick glasses looks at it and says, that's an environmental site. And now we can't develop trillions of dollars worth of value, so we're going to be unfreezing a lot of stuff that's been sitting there for millions of years. And it'll be there long after we're gone. We will set up special zones on federal land with ultra-low taxes and regulations for American producers, and entice the relocation of entire industries from other countries into ours. So think of it. We have low energy, we have low regulation, and we have low taxes. Nobody can do that but us, but we have to do it, and we'll do it quickly. I have pledged to remove the 10 old, and think of this, 10 old and burdensome regulations for every new regulation. So if we put a new regulation in the book, which is not going to happen often, we have to reduce 10. And nobody cut regulations as much. Nobody cuts regulations as much as I did, as you remember. And nobody cut them even close to what I did in the first term. 4 years. In 4 years, I cut regulations more than any other president in the history of our country by far. And that's why you had the best job numbers in the history of our country. You had them because companies were building, they were building so much they didn't even need what they were building, all right? That was a problem too. But they were building like they'd never built before. We had the best job numbers ever. African American, Hispanic American, women, men, people with no high school degree, people with degrees from the highest, best colleges in the world. And speaking of great colleges and smart people, how good did J.D. Vance do the other night? Didn't he do great? I drafted the best athlete. You know, Vince Lombardi, you say, go for the best athlete. But I had 12 people that would have been fantastic. But J.D. did a fantastic job at the debate. And his competition that night, he cannot be president. He cannot be president of the United States. If you want your incomes to plummet, your net worth to collapse, your tax bills to soar, your jobs to disappear, then vote for Lion Kamala to be the tax queen, to be your president. Because if you want to do all those things where your country goes to hell, where your country ends up in a 1929-style depression, then vote for Kamala. But if you want Washington bureaucrats to keep their greedy hands off your money, and by the way, we're moving the Department of Education. We're moving. Your state is going to control your children's education. We're moving it out of Washington immediately. And, you know, we were going to do that, but then we got the COVID thing came in, the gift from China. The China virus came in, and we had to hold up. But we're going to be moving. Because think of it. We have the worst we're like number 40 out of 40. We're right at the bottom of the pack, 38, 39, and 40. Norway, Denmark, Sweden, and I hate to say it, China. Those are the top four, and others. But those are generally the top four. But I'll tell you where we're number one, cost per pupil. We're number one by so much, it's not even close. So we spend more per pupil, and yet we're ranked at the bottom of the list. So here's what we're doing. We're going to let the great state of Michigan run your education. We're going to let Iowa run its education. We're going to let Idaho run their education. We're going to let Florida run their, lots of great. Now, the way I look at it, many of those states, I would say 35 or close to 40, will have education the equivalent of Norway, of Denmark, of countries that do very well. You're going to have then the laggards, too. You're going to have some like let's say, Newscomb, like California will have a problem. We'll help them out a little bit, but they're going to have to run their own education. It's going to really make, I think we're going to soar. And, you know, you can do it for about half the cost, too. We spend more money. We have building after building you pass in Washington, D.C., Department of Education, Department of You say, what the hell do all these people do? Here's what I need. I need one good person, let's say, to be the secretary, and then I need a real secretary that takes stenography. I need two people, because I just want them to make sure they teach English, that they teach reading, writing, and arithmetic. And we're going to do that very fast. We're going to do that very fast, and it's going to be great. But to do that, you have to vote for Trump, and you have to do it fast. You have to do it very quickly. And, you know, while I'm on the subject of smart people, I want to thank Elon Musk. He endorsed me, but more importantly, he endorsed me strongly. He said, you better vote for Trump if you want to save your country. And he's a smart cookie, but he did something else. I was in Georgia the other day, and after the floods, and they were having tremendous problems, in particular in North Carolina. You can't even get in. They were wiped out. They had no communication whatsoever. And they said, do you know somebody named Elon Musk? I said, I happen to know him. He just endorsed me. They said, is there any way he does a product, Starlink? Did anyone ever hear of Starlink? And it's another one of his genius products. It is genius, too, actually. And they said, is there any way? Because North Carolina, in particular, has absolutely no communication. We can't communicate. You can't get there. You just can't talk. And many people are missing. You know, it's really bad. It's really, really bad. Many people are missing. And our federal government is doing so badly. So I said, Elon, can you do us a favor? Can you take care of it? He had, within 45 minutes, planes and helicopters loaded up with this equipment, and they were having perfect communication within less than 24 hours. It was unbelievable. And I said to the person that got me and made the request, who's over there really suffering too, I said, well, what's the difference between that and what they had with the hard wire? They said, actually, the hard wire is not as good. Think of that. So this man got, and he also said, just take it. You'll pay if you can. I mean, people are getting these expensive systems from him, and we really owe him a debt of gratitude. Elon Musk. Great. Not a lot of people would have done that. Most people could not have acted that fast either. He got it right away. They were starting to load, I think, before the phone conversation ended. So we have to thank him. I wish our federal government could move like that, right? Instead of spending money on people that are ruining our country. I delivered you the largest tax cuts in American history, and we'll do it again. We're going to get them lower, but we're going to do something else. No tax on tips. No tax on overtime. And no tax on Social Security for our great seniors. Right? That's a good one, too. That last one's so good. But, look, our seniors were devastated by inflation. They don't get rich by this, but we're going to give them back essentially what they lost. They were destroyed by inflation. Their fixed income, they were destroyed. But also, they worked so hard. This was a young waitress came up to me. How you doing? Well, I'm having problems. The government was after her for tax on tips. I said, oh, you have to pay tax on tips? Who the hell knew that, right? But they do. And very nasty. The government was very nasty. And I said, what do you recommend? They said, it's really unfair. We shouldn't have to pay tax on tips. You know what's going to happen? You're going to end up doing a lot more business, I think. I think you're going to actually end up. But so remember, no tax on tips, no tax on overtime. And with overtime, too. I think that could be a profit-making deal, too, because I think you're going to have a lot more overtime if you do that. Because of that, you're going to end up with a lot more overtime. I used to hate to pay overtime. When I was in the private sector, as they say, oh, I don't want overtime. I shouldn't tell you this. I'd go out and get other people and let them work regular time. That's terrible. I'd say, no, get me 10 other guys. I don't want to have time and a half. I don't want to have. But it'll be great. I mean, it'll be, those three things are great. But our seniors really deserve it because they've been decimated. And the seniors, please vote for Donald Trump, okay? Because they're not doing it for you. They're not doing it for you. Get out and vote. And get all your seniors out to vote. Nah, you're not a senior. Sit down. He's not. He's no senior. He's about 30 years away from being a senior. We're going to take back our auto industry for Michigan. And, it's supposed to be the car capital of the world. I call it the lack of car capital of the world because when it was called the car capital of the world, it was many years ago. It's the lack of car capital, but we're going to make it again the car capital of the world. We're not going to let them steal your business. And it'll end up being bigger and better and more beautiful and more important than it was at its height. And that was a long time ago. You're going to have a lot of companies move. Right now, China is building a major auto plant in Mexico, actually two of them, among the biggest in the world, and they think they're going to sell their cars into the United States and destroy Michigan and South Carolina and other places that make cars. Not going to happen. And you know why it's not? Because I will put 100% tariff on every car, and it's going to make it impossible to sell their car here. And I'll tell them that the only way that they're going to get rid of that tariff, and it's the only way, is if they build the plant, not in Mexico, but in the United States, and our people operate the plant, okay? And this is going to happen a lot. Harley Davidson, I was with them at the White House, and I said, how are you doing? I said, good. I said, how do you do in India? Oh, no good. Why? Because they have 200% tariff. I said, so you can't sell with a 200% right now. But they said, if you come in to our country and build a plant, we won't charge you any tariff. You have no tax to pay. And they said, oh, I said, what are you going to do? Well, I don't think so. They did it. I knew they were going to do it. They went in because they were sort of forced to go in. But we're doing the same thing. Build your plant in the United States of America, and you're not going to have to worry about tariff. It doesn't make any difference. So we're going to make so much money. We're going to bring back so much business. And I think this state will be the biggest beneficiary because your car business, your auto manufacturing will be bigger than it ever was. And you'll have more jobs than ever before. I will terminate Kamala's electric vehicle mandate and end immediately the Green New Scam. Comrade Kamala Harris voted for a bill to impose a 100% ban on gas-powered cars and trucks. Can you believe it? Killing an estimated 200,000 U.S. auto jobs, including 40,000 auto jobs in Michigan. It's a death sentence for the Michigan economy and for the industry, frankly. I don't know. You have a guy named Sean Fain. I don't know who he is, but this guy has to be the dumbest union leader. He was okay by saying we're going to build 100 very shortly. They want 100% electric cars. That's going to put you out of business because China has everything necessary for electric. We have everything necessary for a gasoline-powered car because of our liquid gold. And I'm not against electric cars, but we're going to have also gas-powered cars. We're going to have hybrids. We might someday have hydrogen. Did you ever hear of hydrogen? That's the new thing. That's the new hot thing. No, hydrogen's the hottest thing going. It's too hot. You know what happens? When there's a problem, it's bad. The car blows up, and you're not even recognizable when this happens. It's like, it's a disaster. They tell me about, and I say, are there any problems? Well, there's one problem. When a car goes bad and when it blows up, the person driving the car is not recognizable. So I think I'm going to pass on that particular car, if that's it. They said, oh, well, we'll figure it out. I said, you better do a lot of figuring because this does not sound good. It's not off to a good start. While I'm president, no state in America will be permitted to ban gas-powered cars or trucks, and I guarantee it. No way. No way. You're going to make them right here. You're going to make them here. Over the past 4 years, Kamala Harris has unleashed nothing but chaos and suffering for American labor. With historic inflation, she's made life excruciating for the blue-collar workers who make this country run, and now our entire nation is paying the price. You see what's going on, right? If I was president, the longshoremen strike affecting the entire East Coast and indeed the entire nation would never have happened in the first place. And just so you understand, they were hurt very badly by inflation. They were hurt very, there's two sides to every story. The issue should have been settled by Harris and Biden. They don't even know what's happening. I don't even think they know what's happening. I doubt, Joe, what do you think of the longshoremen strike? What? It's affecting trade. It's affecting half of the country, Joe. Maybe all of the country. I don't know about it. And she won't ask about it. That's why she won't have a news conference. I did one the other day in Wisconsin. It lasted like for 2 hours. They asked me so many questions, the press was exhausted by the time. They were exhausted. I love seeing that. They're just exhausted. They're looking for, gotcha. I got you. If you don't read a big story, that means they didn't get you. They want to get you so badly. They're sick. Look at all of them back there. But the fact is, we don't have the kind of president that we need. We don't have a real president. We have the most incompetent vice president in the history of our country, and by far the worst president in the history of our country. Jimmy Carter, a very nice man. Jimmy Carter is the happiest man. He just celebrated his 100th birthday. He's the happiest man in the history. Yeah, just celebrated 100 years. Just celebrated. His wife passed away, Rosalind, not too long ago. My wife, the great First Lady, went. And Jimmy was pretty old then. He's a little older now. I tell you, he's so happy because his administration was considered brilliant compared to what we have now. Jimmy Carter was a brilliant president compared to Joe Biden and Kamala. Under my leadership, America's workers won't have to go on strike for better wages or a better life because they will once again have a champion for them in the Oval Office. I'll be their champion. Believe me, I will be their champion. And I'll bring back the American dream. I don't know how long this strike is going to go on, but if it's on with me, I'll get it back pretty quickly, I think. For the longshoremen and all of the other people that have been hurt so badly by inflation. They've been really hurt badly by inflation. No matter what they make. You probably have inflation, real numbers, 50, 60, 70%. Some things went up 100%, 125%. Look at interest rates, though. Seriously. Take a look at interest rates. You want to buy a home. I had 2%. Now it's much more than 10%. Somebody said it's 10%, but you can't get the money. I said, that means it's higher than 10%. That's what that means. The Trump Republican Party is the party of the American worker, and it's also the party of common sense. And it always will be. My pro-worker policies are one of the major reasons why I've been overwhelmingly endorsed by the rank-and-file membership, first time it's ever happened, of the Teamsters, including 62% of the Teamster members in Michigan. Are any of them in this room? Who? No, I think it's great. I think it's great. Well, thank you very much. First time it's ever happened. It's great. Now, the leaders aren't going to endorse us. Actually, the 62% are not exactly thrilled because, they say why, but I fully understand. And if you look at the leader of the Teamsters, his name is Sean O'Brien, right? He's a good man. Right? He happens to be a very good man. But Sean Fain, the United Auto Workers, he doesn't know what the hell he's doing. He sold out the auto workers like nobody's ever sold. Within a short period of time, they got a little gain up front, but in 2 years, you won't be making any cars. If I'm not elected, you will not be making any more cars in Michigan. It's all going to be moved over to China and different places, all electric. As we bring back our jobs, we will also restore America's borders with 4 more years for Kamala. She will flood every Michigan small town and Midwestern city with illegal migrants from the most dangerous places on earth. And Michigan will not be Michigan any longer. Would you like to have a couple of million migrants living in your wonderful state? Migrants. She has let in 21 million people during her 3.5 years from prisons and jails, from mental institutions and insane asylums, terrorists at record levels, terrorists. I used to have a very strong watch with Terror Watch. People said, that's not nice. I said, it's very nice. It's called Intelligent. We had a Terror Watch. In 2019, Border Patrol said we had none. I don't believe that. I think it has to have some. But they actually have us down for 0. The following year, they had us down for 11. We have thousands of terrorists now coming in from Yemen, from all over the world. They're coming in. Not just South America. They're coming in from all over the world. If they wanted to close the border, all the president has to do is say, close the border. I'm the president. Close that border. That's what I did. And the border was closed. She keeps talking about, we want him to sign a bill. The bill they wanted me to sign was the worst bill you ever saw. 2 million people in. Everybody gets you're automatically a citizen of our country. The worst bill you've ever seen. And it would have done nothing. It would have hurt. But they use that as a ruse. No, they don't have to use that. All they have to do is say, close the border. They don't need a bill. I didn't have a bill. I closed the border. I said, close the border. Border Patrol, by the way, is fantastic. They want to do their job. ICE wants to do their fantastic. She wants to get rid of ICE. She wants to get rid of ICE. Who's going to go into a nest of MS-13 killers? These ICE guys, they're tough as hell. I've seen it. They're tough, and they love our country, too. The corrupt media is outraged that I keep talking about the migrant crime epidemic. Well, I'm outraged that Kamala Harris keeps importing migrant criminals. These are among the worst criminals in the world. Remember when she said, no, migrants don't cause any crime. And I said, wow, they're pretty rough-looking people to me. They're pretty rough-looking people to me, and it turned out to be I was right. This was 2 years ago. They said, no, migrants don't, that our people are much more dangerous. No, it's not that way. It's the opposite. It's the absolute opposite. I'm outraged that according to new statistics, 13,099 convicted illegal alien murderers have been set loose into the USA. Be careful. I'm outraged that Kamala Harris freed 2 illegal alien thugs who assaulted, kidnapped, and murdered a 12-year-old girl named Jocelyn. You know Jocelyn. I'm outraged that Kamala released into America the predator, the animal who murdered Laken Riley. I'm outraged she let in the savages who raped and murdered Rachel Morin. I'm outraged on behalf of every American family whose children have been murdered by illegal alien and horrible, horrible, savage migrants that Kamala brought into this country. Kamala's agenda is bringing death and despair to America. I will restore light, hope, and dignity back into Michigan, and very quickly. Thank you. I will make America safe again. We will be safe again. On day one of my administration, the invasion of illegal migrants, terrorists, drug dealers, and murderers ends, and on that same day, the largest deportation in our history begins. We have no choice. We have no choice. We have no choice. The record was Dwight Eisenhower, who was a moderate president, but he hated to see people pouring into our country illegally, and he has the largest record. It's very strange when you think about it, but Dwight Eisenhower, very, very strongly about borders, because you don't have borders if you don't do this. If you want to see how sick and distorted Kamala Harris's priorities are, just consider FEMA, F-E-M-A. You know what that is, right? The Federal Emergency Management Agency. And you read about now all the time because there's nobody that's handled a hurricane or storm worse than what they're doing right now. Kamala spent all her FEMA money, billions of dollars, on housing for illegal migrants, many of whom should not be in our country, including $1 billion for gift cards for illegal aliens and putting them up in luxury hotels with a gift card to welcome them to America as our veterans are sleeping on the sidewalks below those hotels and they're being walked into luxury hotels. Now we have a horrific disaster in North Carolina, Georgia, South Carolina, Alabama, Tennessee, Florida, and Virginia. That's how big this hurricane was. And the Harris-Biden administration says they don't have any money. They've spent it all on, they spent all of their money. They have almost no money because they spent it all on illegal migrants. How would you like to be a veteran and you've been sleeping opposite the entrance to a luxury hotel and illegal migrants come in and they're going up and occupying the hotel? That's what's happening. They stole the FEMA money just like they stole it from a bank so they could give it to their illegal immigrants that they want to have vote for them this season. You know, they're trying to get them on the voters' roll. We cannot let that happen. This is the worst response in the history of hurricanes. A certain president, I will not name him, destroyed his reputation with Katrina. And this is doing even worse. She's doing worse than he did. Vote for Trump, and we will take care of the American people first. We'll take care of everything. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much. Now we're going to take care of our country. On top of it all, we just learned that Kamala skipped out on all of her briefings to prepare for hurricanes. She never took a briefing. She wouldn't understand. I don't think she would understand if she did. It did. Think of this. For years, I took the briefings. I mean, I was hoping it wouldn't happen, but you take briefings, you have to be prepared. She's totally unprepared. And he's unprepared. They're both unprepared mentally, but at least they could give it a shot. But Kamala could not be bothered by doing briefings, and now we're paying a big price. They have no idea what the hell they're doing. We had the best 4 years with hurricanes. We took care of people, and I was on the phone. I was screaming at people. They hate my guts to this day. They write books about me. I'm the worst human being they've ever, but they got the job done, and they weren't even that good. She simply doesn't do the work to protect the American people. I will stop all migrant flights to Michigan and every state. So they say, this is the greatest con. They say, no, because she was getting killed in the polls, they say what happened, and this was even him before her, but they did a couple of little things, little tricks, just tricks, same number. And they said, we've got better numbers now on the border, which is true, a little bit better. But what they didn't do is stop airplanes from flying over the border, bringing in hundreds of thousands of migrants. But we caught them, and we say, why are you doing, if you want to stop them, why are you doing airplane flights coming in with hundreds of thousands? Tremendous numbers, hundreds of thousands. And then they have a phone app. Do you know they have an app? Think of it. You know who the app is for? The guys that bring the migrants into our country have a phone app so they know where to dump them, so they know where to bring them. The cartel leaders, the leaders of the cartels, who are among the richest people, I believe, in the world, and they deal also in women. They trek women through the borders and into our country. That's turned out to be a big business, to a lesser extent, children. Not too many men. Not too many. They don't want the men. They want the women and they want the children. And they're traffickers, they're called. They're really bad people. They're really bad. It sounds like an ancient thing, right? An ancient crime, but it's not. What made it so big today, they do at the same kind of money they make with drugs. Some people say it's more. What they do today is like unbelievable and horrible. But you know why it's so big today? Bigger than it ever was 2,000 years ago? Because of the internet. They get all the information about people on the internet, and because of that, it's a massive business, and we had it under control, and now it's totally out of control, and drugs are pouring in at 11 times more than they were when I was there. And you'll never, by the way, stop the drug epidemic unless you have the death penalty for drug dealers, I will tell you right now. Each dealer, male or female, each dealer kills, on average, 500 people during their lifetimes. And that's not to mention all of the, I know so many families, they've lost a child. They've lost parents too, but they've lost usually young kids. They've lost a child. That family is devastated forever. They don't get better. Somebody says, oh, time heals. They don't get better. They've lost a son or a daughter to fentanyl, brought in by drug dealers that are smart and vicious, and that family never, ever recovers. Never recovers. I will shut down all entries through Kamala's migrant phone app. I'll close that app so fast. I will end sanctuary cities immediately. There will be no sanctuary cities in our country. A sanctuary city protects criminals, and I'll do all of the illegal migrants that Kamala has dumped into your small towns will be going home. You're going to have to go home. I'm sorry. Because it's not sustainable. And it's going to be very hard to do. It's a very hard thing to do. They'll pick out one person who's very sympathetic, a woman with 2 children, and they'll show it it's a very tough thing. But we have thousands of murderers. Of the murderers, 25% of them have murdered more than one person. 10% of them have murdered more than 5 people. These people are roaming our country. They could go into a restaurant, they can do whatever they want, and they will kill you because they are wired that way. They were wired that way. We're going to get them the hell out of our country. But for all of that to happen, you have to vote for Trump. You also need to vote for a great gentleman who is going to be of tremendous help to me. He's one of the most respected people in Washington, as you know, and he's running for a thing called the United States Senate. And he's from your beautiful state, but he's tough, he's smart, he's so respected. And I had a lot of choices because my endorsement means a lot. Whoever the hell I endorse does good. And, I looked at some very good people, and there were very good people, but I know him, and this is a man who's about as smart and tough as you can be. All of the things I told you about with jobs and getting illegal migrants out, all these things are very tough things. He will be an unbelievable advocate, and he'll be a great advocate for Michigan. So I want to bring up Mike Rogers, please, wherever Mike is. Come on up, Mike. Got to vote for him.
Well, thank you, Mr. President. I'm going to take a minute, if I may, and tell a story about Donald Trump you don't get to see very often. He's been flying all over the country. He's been doing his thing. He comes to Grand Rapids. He invites me to come with him over to Macomb County. I get on the airplane, and my phone starts blowing up, and I look down, and there was another really important, maybe even more important than the presidential election. My niece was running for student treasurer in middle school, and she was so nervous the day before. She happens to be a huge Donald Trump fan. The phone goes off, and I said, Mr. President, you're not going to believe it. We had our first great news today. My niece won for student treasurer. And yeah. So the president is, he's got a lot going on. He's the Energizer Bunny. He's got 3 phones coming out of his ear. He's signing stuff. It's unbelievable to watch him work. And I said, hey, would you mind just signing this little card? Just say, congratulations, Ileana. This would be great. And he said, no, I'm not going to do that. Why don't you come over here and I'll make a video. So, yeah, you bet. So we make a video, and I'm going to tell you this, Mr. President. I can pretty much guarantee this is going to happen. You are killing it in the middle schools across the United States of America. And I do look forward to working with you on all of your agenda to get it done, to keep America safe. And thank you for not giving up on Michigan workers. I'll tell you, those Teamsters right there, they have more common sense amongst those Teamsters right there than in every committee room in Washington, D.C. And I look forward to working with you to make America great again, Mr. President.
Great, Mike. Oh, you got to get out and vote for Mike. Very important. He'll be the best senator you've had. He will do things that nobody else could do. We're also pleased to be joined by a warrior, a friend of mine, and a congressman who fought for me, and he will always fight for me. He's going to fight for you, basically. Jack Bergman. Jack, thank you. Jack, looking good, Jack. Thank you very much, Jack. Thanks, Jack. Good job. Really a warrior. A candidate for Congress who's doing very well. I just looked at some poll. Paul Young. Where's Paul Young? Hi, Paul. That's good. Oh, they like him. Good. Good luck, Paul. And Michigan GOP Chairman, Ambassador Pete Hoekstra, who's been a friend of mine for a long time. I went to Pete. He's a very successful politician, congressman. And then he retired and did other things. He did a great job. Then he became ambassador. He was a great ambassador. I called him. I said, you got to take over the party. I want you. And it wasn't that easy to get him. And he's done a hell of a job. I want to tell you. Thanks, Pete. And are we going to win? We got to win. Yeah, good. Thanks, Pete. Good job. I hear unbelievable job. So Kamala is the worst vice president, according to many, in the history of our country. And here are the facts. She wants to open borders, totally open borders, keep them open. If she gets in, you'll have 200 million people in here along with you, not 21 million that they let in already. She will deliver even more catastrophic inflation. She was an original creator of defund the police. Defund the police. Anybody that wants to defund the police is not qualified to be the President of the United States. No, because it shows you're a radical left lunatic. I mean, when you want to defund the police, it shows what are you going to do? We're not going to have police. Oh, let's not have police. I'm being robbed. They want to send a social worker over to talk to the people that are robbing. These people are crazy. Kamala Harris vowed to abolish ICE. She supports free health care for illegal aliens. She wants mass amnesty and citizenship for all aliens. And she wants them for illegal or legal. I said, you want them for, yes, we're on for, she's crazy. She says she must not utter the words. Nobody is allowed to utter the words illegal alien or radical Islamic terrorist. She lost more than, to me, the worst thing. She lost more than 325,000 migrant children many of whom have been trafficked and raped. She, think of it, 320, that's like taking Yankee Stadium and filling it up like 10 times, 15. Who the hell knows? Nobody's ever seen anything like it. 325,000 children are gone, probably never to see their parents again. Illegal migrant children. They're either dead or they're sex slaves or slaves of some kind. As California Attorney General, she redefined child sex trafficking, assault with a deadly weapon, and rape of an unconscious person as a non-violent crime. She praised the idea of 70 to 80% tax hikes. She pledged to abolish private health care for anyone that wants it, so instead of going into a socialist government-run health care system with some people want to have private health care, and I think that's good. But she said, no, everybody waits in line. This is what she wanted. Everybody has to wait online for their health care. She did so many different things, so many deadly things, and we can't let this go on. We can't let this happen to our country. We're not going to let it happen to our country. And I just want to tell you that it's been a great honor to be with you. We're at a point in our country's life that I think it's the most important election in the history of our country. I think there's never been anything as important. There's never been anything like it. And by the way, I want to tell you a funny story. Can I tell you one story before we leave? The teleprompter just went out. Just went out. I'm standing here, and I do most of it without the tele. Isn't it nice to have somebody that doesn't need a teleprompter? These teleprompters. You know, it's very dangerous. You got to be careful. You know, teleprompters will often go out. And if you're a certain type of person like Joe Biden, what would he do with the teleprompter? He's no good when the teleprompter is on. But what would you do? No, the teleprompter just went out. And you know what I say? Usually I don't talk about it. Just keep going. Just keep going. You saw I just did. So, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for being here. It's wonderful. I love you very much. Go out and vote. That's true. Go out and vote. And I would say, together we will deliver low taxes, low regulations, low energy costs. We're going to have low interest rates. It just went on, by the way. Low inflation, so that everyone can afford groceries, a car, and a home. No, it is true. Oh, we've lost the teleprompter many times. The worst is the wind. I was in Ohio for Bernie Moreno, and it was 45-mile-an-hour winds. These things were blowing like flags. You felt like a drunken sailor, in all due respect. They're blowing, so then they blew off the stage, and I'm stuck out there with 52,000 people. I'm stuck there. I had no nothing. I couldn't even stand up with the wind. It was so crazy. And we got through it, and you know what? He took a big increase, and he's doing okay, I understand, Mike. I hear he's doing all right. We will stop the invasion, end migrant crimes, strengthen our military, build a missile defense shield. You saw how well that worked. Keep critical race theory and transgender insanity out of our schools. Day one. Day one. And we will keep men out of women's sports. So crazy. No, so crazy. That's interesting. Thank you very much. They actually have the best seat. I had to give the Teamsters the best location today because I'm so happy with them. It's never happened before. I don't think it's ever happened, right? Look at the great seats. But we will defend the Second Amendment, protect religious liberty, restore free speech, and we will secure our elections. Everyone will prosper, every family will thrive, and every day will be filled with opportunity and hope. But for that to happen, we must defeat Kamala Harris, Lion Kamala, and we must stop her country-destroying liberal agenda once and for all. You know, I call her Lion Kamala. She worked at McDonald's. I watched her being interviewed. People were crying. It was so sad. Yes, I grew up working at McDonald's over the French fry counter. Oh. She never worked there. It was a lie. She's Lion Kamala. She never worked there. Somebody went, some good reporter back there, actually. They didn't want to actually report the story, but we found out about it because they don't like to report. You don't hear that much about it. You know what's beautiful about that one? It's so simple. It's not like complex. We don't have to go through the history of it. She said, I worked at McDonald's. It was a tough job. She said she worked over the French fries. You know, it's probably not so nice if it's 200 degrees out, right? Probably not so nice. It turned out to be a lie. It's all a big lie. She's not qualified to be the president. She can't answer a question. She doesn't do any interviews. And even the radical left liberal lunatics, some of which are there, I know some of them very well, but even those people are angry with her because it's not, you got to test, you got to be tested, you got to be tested, and he's not going to do any more. I tell you what, they're going to have a combination. They'll never speak to the press again, which is maybe that's okay. Remember, early voting is beginning in just a couple of days. You must get out and you must vote. We want a landslide that's too big to rig. On November 5th, we will save our economy. We will rescue our middle class. We will reclaim our sovereignty. We are going to reclaim our sovereignty. And we're going to restore our borders once and for all. We will put America first. And we will take back our country. Together we will make America powerful again, wealthy again, healthy again, strong again, proud again, safe again. And we will make America great again. Gonna make it so great. God bless you, Michigan. God bless you.